Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Luetkemeyer, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome, Jerome Powell. Long morning for you here, and afternoon. Question for you with regards to a quote that on March 17th, the CFPB put out in a blog on rising interest rates, in which they said, and I quote, "The CFPB is the arm of the Federal Reserve System that is fully focused on consumers, ensuring that markets are fair, transparent, and competitive," end quote. Do you believe the CFPB is an arm of the Federal Reserve? And do you have any control over their actions?
Well, they're an independent agency. We have no control whatsoever of their actions. They are actually, though, legally a bureau. The law makes them a bureau, and the profits that we make off of our balance sheet, we give all of them to the Treasury Department, except the part that we give to pay for the CFPB.
So does that make them an arm?
For all practical purposes, they're fully independent in all of their policies.
They're not an arm of the Federal Reserve, then? I wouldn't consider that an arm. They have a relationship, but they're not an arm.
Technically, they're a bureau, but
they're not under you, so they're not. I don't know how they could be.
No,
an
we
arm.
have no supervision.
Okay.
And, we collaborate with them, we coordinate with them, we talk to them.
Well, this is overreach by the director. I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. This is a bunch of nonsense, so it needs to be put in its place. Chairman, you've got your hands full right now. This is Wall Street Journal from Tuesday. We had economists say recession is likely. Down here we said stocks are not bottoming very soon. So we've got some concerns. I know yesterday you were in the Senate, and there was a lengthy discussion on inflation, which there has been here this morning as well. And in my mind, there's 4 root causes of inflation. And we've had economists in your chair a few weeks ago, and I had one in my Small Business Committee a couple weeks before that, and I asked the same question of them. I said, it looks to me like there's 4 causes of inflation: monetary supply, rules and regulations, energy, and supply chain / job problems that we have with workers in the economy today. And they both agreed that's basically your 4 problems that are underpinning inflation. I asked them to give me a percentage on each one of them. They said roughly 40% for money supply, 20. So I guess my concern is that, if you look at those 4 causes, you're trying to help fight inflation. It's one of your mandates. And you really, under money supply, is the only thing you have any ability to do something with. And even then, it's probably only half of it, because Congress has control over how many dollars are put into the system with additional bills, like the $1 trillion stimulus package from last year, taxes and things like that. So it looks like you have a minimal amount of impact out of those 4 things. So it looks to me quite oftentimes whenever you're trying to control the inflationary stuff with the interest rate, it's kind of over here trying to do a little something, when over here there's all sorts of stuff going on, and the administration seems to be in contradiction to some of the things you're trying to accomplish over. Do you ever feel like that? Do you believe that may be a position that you're in right now?
So we're very focused on the part of the job that we can do and using our tools to do it.
Well, I understand that, Mr. Chairman, but I would seem that it would think that you're, all these other factors fall outside your purview here, and for you to try and manipulate it and everybody rely on you to solve the inflation problem by tinkering with the interest rate over here, it looks like that's a little overhyping the situation. But one of the things that is very concerning is the regulatory cost. In my discussion with the economist, he said, look, and this is the administration's own figures, last year, the administration the cost of compliance with new regulations was $201 billion. That's astronomical. That's a huge cost that has to be built into all the small businesses and other businesses whenever they produce products and services for sale for customers. They've got to build in an additional $200 billion in costs every year. Would you agree that's a huge driver of inflation?
It sounds like a big number, yeah. And as you know, we try at the Fed to weigh costs and benefits and take that into consideration.
Would you agree that those other 4 things that I said are underpinning inflation, would you agree that those probably are the 4 major problems?
Yeah, so overwhelmingly, most economists would not think of it in terms of money supply, but would think of it in terms of supply and demand. And although there may be a role for money supply, they would think in terms of supply and demand being out of balance. And that's how I think about it.
You know, the definition of inflation I've always had was too many dollars chasing too few goods and services. If you throw more money in, you have more money to supply to the consumers.
There's 40+ years of history and actually Milton Friedman at the end came back and said, you know, that's not really working anymore.
Mr. Chairman, I just
It may
got
be
one
working
more,
again, though. Is the
one more quick comment for you with regards to this. It looks to me like whenever you're
Gentleman's
modeling,
time has expired.
when you're trying to
Gentleman's
model
time
and you
has
use these
expired.
4 different things, I hope that your
Gentleman's
models
time
are
has
including these
expired.
things in your modeling. I appreciate just a 13
Gentleman's
seconds to be
time
able to
has
finish my
expired.
question. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely, thank you.